We will walk the halls, take a look in each of the classrooms just as an accountability thing for the teachers. And parents are allowed to do that too. If you have the name tag, the sticker, you want to come in and check on your kid. Some of them are kind of one-way glass, not all of them, but you can walk through without disturbing the kids or the class and take a look, see what's going on. The other thing we do with that, because we're low on volunteers in the classroom, if a kid needs to go to the bathroom of the older classes, we're kind of watching the hallways to make sure that kid goes into the bathroom, comes out of the bathroom, goes back in the class, and isn't just running around through the hallways and stuff. And the single teacher in the classroom doesn't have to try and keep track of who's out in the hallway, who's in the class, and those kind of things. So we're helping as much as we can with that. I think that's it. So any questions? If they want to take them out to the playground. Are we live now? Okay. Not in the parking lot, but we don't have enough people to be everywhere. But yeah, during the nice weather, if the Sunday school teacher does want to take them out there, they'll let us know. We'll figure out if we have enough people on the team to have somebody out there, as well as continuing to monitor in here. And we'd love to have them out there because when it's nice weather, it's nice to get outside. So we'll try and make it work, but some days it just isn't possible to safely do it. So. Yep. And even in the middle class, we've had that in the last year and stuff, where it was a nice day, sermons going long, kids are just crawling up the walls. Come let us know and very often we do have enough people around so we can have somebody out there to help monitor and make that work. Spur of the moment, but if we can plan ahead, that's always best. But, yep. Raise your hand. No, we don't have anything official. We do, and that's something we do for the Sunday school teachers in nursery too. We do background check, or the church does background checks. Anyone over 18, I believe it is. So we do have a few of the high school kids and stuff that help back there too. They don't go through that. For the security, we have it stated in the paper that it's adult. It'll be adult, so somebody 18 or older will be on it. Anybody's welcome if you go through the background check and it's something you want to do. We're happy to have extra people doing it. So, yeah, and just to clarify things, Jared actually started this, and Jared's in charge. He's just too bashful to be up here. Yeah. Don't believe everything you hear. All right. Anything else? All right. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks. Thank you, Spence. If for anyone that is tuning in via live stream, we had some technical difficulties. So we talked about security. We went through there is a sheet with all of this information available online or at the back of the check-in station. If you have questions about that, email me, contact Spence. He has an email or phone number available. So if you have questions about that, please reach out to us and we can fill in any gaps that we missed here via this live stream thing. So if you guys could come up here, I think the video is up here, and use the mic then too. I think Abby is up next to talk about some nursery stuff. So give us an update on that.
Hi. Nothing too crazy going on in nursery. We're rolling and rolling and rolling. Shh. Okay, the kids are crazy, but nursery is stable. So right now we've got, in the nursery age demographic at church, we have between 30 and 40 kids in the birth to 3 age range, but I think we've got about 10 to 15 that are regularly attending. Always need more volunteers, so if you want to come volunteer in the nursery, let me know. My cute baby will be there in 2 months, so it's a big deal. Any questions about nursery? Okay. I suppose, yeah, since reopening, we did revamp our cleaning protocols a little bit. So we do have a spray now that cleans things after every service. So it helps. We clean things. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah. Ideally, right now we've committed to a 2 to 8 ratio. So 2 adults for every 8 kids. Depending on whether it's infants or older kids, we can be a little flexible, but we try not to go below the 2 to 8. But we can always have more, and especially once we get more than 8 kids, we try and have 2 rooms going. So, yeah, we can. Yeah, we should. As things warm up, I anticipate we'll need 4 on every given week. Right now, we've been running with 2. So, the question. Okay, that was the question. All right. Anything else? Okay. I think that's nursery then.
All right, thanks, Abby. Oop. Okay. All right. So I just have some updates for Sunday school and the things that we've been doing. I hope I can cover everything here. Just, a few things since we've reopened a month ago or so now, a little over a month ago. We have 3 classrooms. We've been adjusting things as we have a need for them. But right now we have 3 classes. There's a pre-K and kindergarten class for 4 and 5-year-olds. If your kid is in kindergarten school year, like if they were in public school and they were in the kindergarten class that year, for that. And then we have same thing, the age. We're just trying to make a cut. Because of our class sizes and things, we're having to limit our classes, or we decided to limit our classes to 15 kids in each of the larger rooms. So that would be pre-K and K and 1st through 3rd. 4th and 5th grade, we have a limit of 8 kids. We've been keeping track of that at the check-in counter, so that should be, for teachers' sake, you don't have to worry about that so much. It's going to be taken care of at check-in. We kind of have a little tally system that's working so far. So during COVID, that's what we're doing. We have those limits in place, and so far we haven't hit those maxes and had to, turn anybody away. But we'll reevaluate, I guess, as we go. But so far, that's what we're sticking to. So, another thing. So, check-in. If you would like to get involved in Sunday school or children's ministry in general, we would like some more check-in folks. To just help with the first, so you would come, 15 minutes before service and check in kids, and you'd stay there a few minutes after, 10 minutes after. So if you're interested in that, contact me, and we can get you on a schedule with that. Another thing for teachers, we're asking all teachers to wear masks, and then kids over 5, we're asking that everyone would wear a mask back there in the children's wing, and then we're going to wipe down all of the rooms afterwards. So there's cleaning supplies and everything in each of the classrooms. So wipe down all the tables and all the chairs, and then any toys that you guys use during your class. We just ask that you would wipe that down. So other than that, just general curriculum things. Kind of, we're using the Answers in Genesis curriculum. I think most of you have either taught before, or those of you that are here. But if anyone hasn't used that, it's pretty thorough. There's a lot of information on the actual curriculum, the classes the curriculum that you get for your class that day. There's a lot of information, and there's a lot of like background info and stuff like that. I'd encourage you to read that. There's some really good stuff as a teacher to grow and think about a lot of that stuff. But I want to encourage you guys, I guess, to just let the Spirit lead your classroom, because you can read through that thing and take it as a good like a spine for your class. But I just want to open it up to allowing, if God leads you to talk about something else, don't worry about it, or like if a kid has a question during the class and you have to kind of derail a little bit from the curriculum, that's okay. And I think I can get a little bit structured with that and think, that I did a bad job or something if I didn't stick to the curriculum, but that's not the case. So I just was wanting to encourage people with that. But it is a very good base and foundation, and it seems there's a lot of biblical foundations in this curriculum, and so far I've enjoyed it a lot so far. And let's see. So yeah, just our goal is to show the kids love and speak truth first, not necessarily just to get through, the curriculum and I have to say these words, but really to show them God's love first. Okay, and then there are if you guys come in and don't have, everything should be printed off for you. If it's not, though, if you're missing some sheet or something like that, there is a USB drive on each of there's a crate, with a file cabinet crate in each of the rooms. There's one of these USBs on each one that will have all of the printables on it. So if you're missing something, just take this off. You can plug this right into the printer in the copy room, which is next to Nancy's office, down in the new foyer. And so you should be able to just plug this right into the printer and be able to kind of plunk through that way and print off if you're kind of in a bind. But all of the information is on here if you need it, just as a backup for that. Let's see, what else? I missed it. Just try to be in your rooms by 9:45 in the morning. Just be in there ready to greet kids and prepped, beforehand, and so that you can greet them as they come. A lot of kids are here around then, and it's good to be in there and ready for them. We're not doing snacks. That's another thing. We're not doing snacks, candy, things like that in class during COVID. We'll let you know if that changes whenever that changes, if it does. But we used to do snacks regularly, and we're not doing that anymore. We're also going to try to, I think there's some like prize bins and things like that in the classrooms. We're going to try to stay away from that as rewards, at least for now. I'm working on making some bookmarks, and so if you have like an activity that the kids could get a prize for, you can use those. We're still working on that, but there'll be a little box in each room of some bookmarks that the kids can have as prizes, and we'll maybe come up with a few other things. But for now, we'll just stick to that as prizes. Another thing after class. After your class, we've been printing out the take-home sheets for each classroom, and just we've been giving those every week. So just so that everything's consistent along teachers, let's give out those take-home sheets each week, because it kind of goes along with the lesson, and it's just fun to have something for the kids to take home. So we're going to try to do that along all the classes. I hope you know what I mean. They're like those two double foldable things. Caroline has one. There you go. Yeah, those fold up things. My kids love those. So we're going to give out those at the end. let's see, what else? Class sizes. Yeah, that is a lot of information, but we also have we made a list, Caroline made a list of supplies in the supply closet. So your curriculum will have different activities, different things that you need, pipe cleaners or toilet paper rolls or that type of thing. Caroline made a list of everything that is in the supply closet, the Sunday school supply closet. The Sunday school teachers are free to use that closet. It is in the far room. It's the Cubby's room. Cedar, thank you. It's the Cedar room, and it's the furthest one down on the left side. That room, the closet in there is the Sunday school closet, and you're free to use anything that you find in there. So if you come early, go grab all the stuff you need. Today we needed pom-poms and straws and all kinds of stuff. So just go in there, and there's a ton of stuff in there. Caroline, do you want to just come up and talk about what, maybe real quick?
If you're going to be teaching Sunday school, does anybody want one of these lists so you can have it like at home? I have extra copies. And this isn't like exclusive to what's in the closet. This is just like the general idea. And then when you go into the closet, this clipboard will be in there on the door, and it's just like really basic. You're welcome to use anything in here. If you like are using something and you run out of it, that's perfectly fine. Let Emily or I know, and we can see if it needs to be replaced. And then it also tells you on the list all of the art supplies that are in there and what shelf they're on. So the shelves are labeled by numbers, and it'll tell you like you're looking for straws. So you go, it's alphabetical, and it'll tell you like what shelf number the straws are on, or I need glitter glue or googly eyes, something simple like that. And it's all in there. And then this isn't exclusively what's in the closet, but there's also a tote in the bottom that has like prepackaged crafts that have been like left over from vacation Bible schools or other Sunday school things. And they're all on the top of that tote. I listed like everything, like there's reindeer craft in here, or a pumpkin craft, or a John 3:16 craft. And things like that. Or if you are prepping for one of your lessons and you have an idea for an activity, or there's an activity in your curriculum and you just, you're not exactly quite sure, but you want to do some kind of activity with it and you're just not sure, you can always come talk to me or Emily, and I'm sure we could find something in there that would go along with it, because there's just like a plethora of supplies left over, kind of when things roll over from year to year, that would love to be used, and I'm sure we have it. We just can be creative and figure out how to use it. So if you have an idea that you're not quite sure like where to go with it, I'd love to go in there with you, or you can go in there and go on a little treasure hunt. It's a lot. It's not too hard to find, I think, what you need. You could probably find something. But like I said, this is just like a basic list of the craft and art supplies. But if you need anything else or have questions, just let me know.
Yes, and Nikki Rudak has been involved in that too, helping out with making some of that list. Yes. The key, yes, if it's locked, the key is just hanging up in the corner on the frame. So just take that down. It's right there. If it's locked. We're going to send that list out to all the teachers too, each month. So you'll have access to that list from home as you're planning and things, getting ready for Sunday school. That was a lot of information. Do you have questions? What kind of questions do you have for us? Anything I missed? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. The question was, how are we getting lessons out to teachers? We'll email you before your month. So so far, all the teachers have been signing up for a month at a time. and before your month, you'll get an email with that month's worth of lessons. So you'll have them via email. We also, if many of the teachers want hard copies of them, and so we can make copies and put them in your mailbox or hand them to you at church as well. But and so far, I think we're just doing that for everybody. Is that right, Lana? Have we been, doing that for everyone? So if you don't want those hard copies, let us know. But otherwise, we can do that too. So you have something to bring home.
We were talking about each month going through the supply list for each class, and then maybe putting, like, if there's something really specific, like the 4 and 5-year-olds need toilet paper rolls this month, and like pom-poms, and we're putting it in a tote specific for that class. So that will be at the beginning of each month. There's a new teacher. If it's something like really, if it's like crayons, those are already in your classes. But if it's like a very specific craft or activity, it'll be like organized in a tote for your classroom at the beginning of that month.
Yeah, so Caroline and Nikki are working on getting specific, just for this thing, specific buckets of special craft items. For example, next week we're making binoculars, so we need a bunch of toilet paper rolls. That's not like something that's on the list for the supply closet. So they're going to work on getting a bucket for each month of all of those specific supplies, right? Yeah, thanks, Nikki. Yeah.
So in terms of the take-home sheets and other items that say I need, every kid needs, one of these certain kind of sheets during the class, is my expectation as a teacher that I will have all of those pre-printed for me somewhere for the month, or should my expectation be that I should do it myself?
Sure. So if you have handouts, right, for the class, are the teachers in charge of that, or are those going to be done and ready for you? That's your question, right? Yeah, all of those handouts will be ready to go in that file folder for that week. So we have a file folder that it has, lesson 1, and then everything that you should need for that day is in there. All the take-home sheets and all the handouts should be in there. The only reason it wouldn't is if we missed something. So if there was, so double check it maybe when you come in and just make sure that your sheets are there. But they should all be printed and ready to go. Any other questions? Teachers, things that I've missed that you have come across, anything? Or good. Anyone from home, if you have questions, email me, Nikki, Lana, Caroline, anyone, Sarah, Spencer. I think that's good. Lisa is fantastic at teaching. I've learned so much from you since I started teaching, 10 years ago or something now in Sunday school. So I asked Lisa to do some little tips and tricks kind of thing of how to, sometimes we have behavior issues with specific kids or things like that. So I just asked her to talk a little bit about that. So you have the floor, Lisa. Here we go. And there are 5 of us, I just want to say, trying to do the job that Lisa did by herself for 10 years. And I'm very grateful for all of the service that you have given to Sunday school. Really, really, truly am. The more I learn how hard of work it is, I appreciate you more every day. So I just wanted to say that.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Emily, for asking me. And I guess I'll just say, so there's a kind of a huge chunk of stuff that's in this packet, and I tried to limit it, but I think a lot of you know me, but I vocationally I'm a teacher. I've taught at every grade level, K-12, so I also have spent a lot of my professional time just knowing kids. But also I started in children's ministry, specific, like trained children's ministry when I was 15. So I've been doing this for about 20 years, and I do love it. So if you are ever, like if you ever have a lesson or a question or a how do I or what, just feel free. Parents at home, teachers, whatever. I really do love talking to folks who want to talk to kids. So a few things. The first thing that is on this sheet, and by the way, if you're at home, I will probably have extras of these here at church, but I also have it, this is all digital at home. So if you want it, let me know. I'll send it to you. But the first thing is I just kind of made a really quick gospel kind of main point and how you might be able to connect that. I'm not going to read through all this. You're grown-ups. You can take this home. But I am really passionate about sharing the gospel as often as possible. Even though I know a lot of kids are getting that from families at home, it's a great place here at Cedar Creek. I know people are sharing the gospel with their kids at home, but not every parent may know how to share it at a kid level. And it's also something that I think we should just know more and more, not only because we want to win these souls to Christ, but the more they hear the gospel, the more prepared they are to share that gospel with the world around them, both as kids and as grown-ups. Just as a sweet parent moment. My oldest, who's 8, this last summer, I got so excited. We had a little girl over who was only like 4 and was not really listening, but my 8-year-old grabbed her Bible and was sharing the gospel with her because she just was so excited that somebody else was over. And she did a fine job, I might say. So I was really excited about that. But I know that children can share their hope in the Lord. And so I just encourage everyone to share the gospel as often as possible. But it doesn't have to be this separate thing, like now we're sharing the gospel. I mean, it can be. But this first is just the main points of the Bible. We just need to know who God is and that he's holy and created us, and then that we have a need for a savior because of our sin separation, and then that God made a way for us to come back to him through Jesus, and then that there is an invitation that God has for each of us to know him. And so again, it's for, I would just encourage that, and you can really connect any Bible account to the problem that the character is having, that we have a problem with sin. And that God solved that or was with that character in the story, and God solved our problem by sending Jesus. So it's really easy to connect. Again, I should say that, and knowing that maybe that's not something everyone's in the practice or habit of. So if it's not easy for you, if you want to go through it ever, I mean, I've done trainings with people of how to kind of put the gospel into different Bible accounts. But here it is for you. And then after that, the next several pages are kind of just in those 3 age groups that we have for Sunday school, a few of my favorite kind of tips and tricks, and also just kind of what the Bible says about doing that. So again, I won't go over all of that, but I also aligned it a bit with our church mission of win, build, send. Also, that doesn't mean that we're not winning souls in the older classes, but we're focusing in on a lot of winning and who God is and what God did for us in some of the younger ages, and then we're moving kind of through that, building them up in the truth in the middle ages, and then preparing them to also be sent out into the world. Again, not that we're not doing all of those things at every level, but sort of focusing in a bit just because of where kids are developmentally, as well as just that that works well with our church's mission also. Tires are important to your car all of the time, but I know that we focus in on making sure they're in good shape before winter, right, around here. So same thing, all of that, winning, building, sending, all important for kids and grown-ups at every stage. But I kind of focused in on some of that for those kind of next couple of pages. Okay, so some practical things that are also on there. One of the best ways to keep kids engaged is to get their bodies moving, especially little kids. Their bodies cannot physically sit like ours. It is physically uncomfortable, painful, even though they can't really say that. They need to move. So any type of movement you can do. If you're teaching a story and they're in the boat, right? The disciples are in the boat with Jesus during that big storm. Man, our whole body is moving and rocking with that boat, right? So you get the kids engaged in what's going on in the story as much as you can. As they get older, and you'll see some of that on there, they can act some of it out, right? So they become the woman searching for the coin, right? And so they're searching all over that classroom for nothing, if necessary, right? But like they're moving all around. And those middle grades especially, they start to really like anything that feels like it's a competition, even if all you're giving is 500 points that mean really nothing at the end of the day, right? Right? You got the answer, right? You got 500 points. This is amazing, right? Or sometimes the reward, as they were talking about, doesn't have to be a thing. It can be a motorcycle handshake. If you've never had the pleasure of a motorcycle handshake, right? You grab the kid like you're going to give him a handshake, and instead you just go like a motorcycle. So you can give all kinds of fun rewards like that to keep kids engaged for what they're doing. A few ideas that are easy, especially older kids who act like they're too cool for these silly things. They're really not. You can do simple things with them too. If you have even a crumpled up piece of paper or a pom-pom or a beanbag or whatever, answer the question and then try to toss it into a hula hoop, which I know we also have there, right? And have some that are further away. You get points for hitting it in the hula hoop. You still have to answer the question, and then you get a chance to, toss something in a hula hoop. Really easy way to turn even just a reviewing, questioning kind of game into something fun and engaging for kids. I did a couple weeks ago with the older kids. We were talking about books of the Bible. And so I would say a book of the Bible, and they simply just had to jump with their body this way if it was Old Testament and this way if it was New Testament. So, something as quick as that, as I'm reviewing some of the books of the Bible, and their body is engaged as well as their brain. So that's kind of a good way, keep kids engaged. Also, I've learned over the years, know yourself a bit about what works for you. For example, I can't stand too many noises. That's just a thing about me. Some people, it doesn't bother them. The noises bother me. Movement doesn't. So I had some kids in class today, and their little bodies needed to move. And I said, hey, this is great. I don't care if you don't want to sit in that chair. I don't mind if your body is moving. Can you try to make your body move without it making noises? That's it. Simple question, and they were good with that. You don't have to sit here, and if your body needs to stand up, and that's okay. And that's just me, and I know other people who are different about that. So know yourself a little bit too, and be okay just sharing with the kids what helps you. Then there's a few other pages in that packet, and I apologize, the very back page is just a reprint. It's an accidental. But that goes through just some developmental stages and things to expect of kids at different ages. So especially if you're tuning in at home and you're even a parent and you want some of that info, that was taken not necessarily from a 100% church situation, right? It's just kid stuff in general, but it's good to know about kids so you know what to expect and what sort of behaviors. I'm also happy to help if you feel like classroom management, that's a real technical way to say it, but just like how to engage kids, or how to help if you feel like kids aren't listening or engaging or whatever, how to help you through some of that or give some ideas about what works for you. I'm happy to do that. I didn't want to do a ton on there. Happy to open it up to specific questions also if you have, but those are kind of my scratch the surface, and then there's some ideas for you to take home. So does anybody have any questions or ideas or other things that you might be interested in knowing kind of as you grow as a teacher and parents in sharing the Lord with kids? That's a great question. So again, if you're at home, she was wondering a little bit of, especially the older kids have some take-home sheets that, she's wondering, are they just getting kind of tossed aside, or should we focus in on that, or what do you think? Yeah, some of that I think it depends on how you are as a teacher. And I know some families love them, use them, do them, and I think you're absolutely right. Some families, they don't make it past the car. I don't know that that's good, bad, or otherwise. But I think it's more likely to just get tossed in the car. I think if it's take your sheet at the end. So I would say sometimes I like to do a sort of a balance. Because I'll be honest, in my kids' world, that usually doesn't get used at home a whole lot, but I know that there is definitely value in there. And it depends kid to kid even. Some kids like them. But I try to, as a teacher, I'll look at it before class, and sometimes if there's a puzzle in it that I know the kids might like, I want to maybe make a time for them to get started on that. But it's not you have to sit down and you have to do this homework sheet, but hey, look, there's a really neat thing. Or if I knew there was something that I connected to, with them in class. So I try to have them have a little opportunity to work on one of those things so that they've started it. And then especially like the puzzle aspect in the middle, sometimes there's a puzzle thing. And then they might be excited, or I might show them something else that I think is really cool because it talks about this verse. So if you want to look more about that at home. So that's kind of how I handle those, somewhere in the middle, I'd say. Yeah, Emily. What to do with kids that are a little too rambunctious or distracting in the class? Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is that to me says that's a kid who they're not stuck on something yet, right? So how can I engage that kid, and at different levels? So sometimes you can make that kid your helper who's going to do something. That's really great. Even if that person is calling on the next person, right? You say, which one of your friends should answer the next thing? Which one of your friends, right? So that you're engaging with them a lot. Sometimes that helps. Some kids, you can kind of coach them to to help encourage them just not to distract others. It depends on the behavior, right? Sometimes you've got a kid who's just, maybe their own little body is kind of everywhere, and if they can have kind of a space where they can do that and still hear, some kids are like that. And that's okay too, especially if what they're doing isn't overly distracting to others. Or really encourage, like, oh, I love your enthusiasm. What do you know about this? And especially sometimes if there's a kid, many of our kids know some of these things. And so that's sometimes why they're disengaged, because they think they already know it. If you can get them to start the story for you sometimes too, tell me what you know about this and engage in this. And then you can ask some questions to fill in, maybe find out what they don't know. Then you know what's going to engage them in the rest of the class time. So I don't know if I answered your question really well enough, but those are some ideas. It depends on the kid. But I'm also, again, that's something I'm happy to help with too, if you feel like there's a kid. On occasion, I've just had to also, not recently, but on occasion, I've just had to be like, after class, I really want to talk to you and, mom or dad just about this, right? And a lot of times kids too, not because I want to get them in trouble, but a lot of kids are like, wait a minute, my behavior in this classroom is not isolated to this classroom, and mom or dad might know, some of the choices that I was making. That sometimes helps a kid think about their behavior. Sometimes they just think it doesn't matter because no consequences are going to happen, and most behaviors aren't, super, super big either. But sometimes a conversation like that that's a pretty, I would say that's an extreme case, not really something that happens often, but a lot of times engaging parents in that is important too. So. Anything else? Yeah. Yeah, Jared had a good add-in, especially as a parent. So for those of you who are live streaming, maybe didn't hear him, that if, also if you have kind of a behavior that's continuing and the student doesn't seem to be responding, right, or changing that behavior, to engage the parents, because it's their kid, and that, kids can sit with their parents as opposed to having the opportunity, right? Going and being in class with your friends and learning this together is a good opportunity. But if that isn't corrected, then that the student can sit with a parent instead. And so, that keeping our parents together and our kids together in that too is good. Although again, I would say right now, I know the kids that are back there, and it's really nice because right now I don't know that I have anyone who I would think that's really a concern for, although I've seen that in the past. And yeah, that sometimes happened, like, especially if it's something really specific and you can't get the kid to change a behavior that is really disrupting to the class. Yeah. Yeah. Have fun. I think that's like, if you're having fun, and the kids have fun. And I love that our kids get a chance to see other believers knowing and loving the Lord and having fun knowing and loving the Lord. And so, yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. That was fantastic. Yeah, if you want that sheet, it's really good. Contact Lisa; she can get it to you. So, anything else? I think we're good to go. It's 12:30. Thank you, everybody, so much. I'm just going to pray, and we'll be on our way. Lord, I am so grateful for all of our teachers, all the people that are loving our kids and helping to raise them and helping these kids get opportunities to learn about you from different mouths and learn about different people and hear the gospel in so many different ways from so many people who I admire and respect so much. God, I'm so grateful. I pray that we would focus on you, teach our kids prayerfully, and that we would teach them truth without inhibition, just with inhibition, that we would be bold and courageous to share the gospel with these kids, and that it would stick with them, that you would change their hearts, Lord. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, guys.